This is Flight Sim Weekend 2026, and inside we had the chance to talk with Brunner about their latest force feedback joystick and rudder pedals. If you like force feedback half as much as I do, then you'll probably find this quite interesting. Thanks to all our channel members, subscribers and supporters for allowing us to go to events like this to film content that only 3 people will enjoy watching. It's much appreciated. Hi guys, I'm here with Mario from Brunner, and Brunner, if you don't know, they do some absolutely fantastic force feedback joysticks and rudder pedals, and I think you guys were one of, if not the first companies doing consumer force feedback devices.
Kind of, yeah, I would say. Yeah, a couple of years ago.
They were doing stuff when that whole patent troll stuff was going on, and you still managed to get stuff out, which is awesome.
That's true.
Also, you guys do a lot of industry equipment, so for professional, military.
That's correct. So let's say 2/3, even 3/4 of our total revenue in simulation goes mostly to the professional sector. And of course, the cool thing is we kind of downscale or upscale the functionalities in our hardware from one to the other sector. So home users have the opportunity to kind of have the functionality which the professionals have in professional units as well. So that's quite cool. So you feel that you have a professional device at home, even if it's for the home user market designed. Should we start over here?
Awesome.
So these are our top sellers, the Yokes, CLSE MK2 Mark II yoke, and the CLSE NG yoke. Functionality-wise, it's kind of the same. So you have of course, control-loaded systems, motors and drives inside. You have motor vibrations, you have trim functionalities on both. The difference here is, of course, as you can see, CLSE MK2 has a small display in it with a lot of different functions which might be used by the customers, like stopwatch and others, which some of the customers like. Whereas the CLSE NG doesn't have that, probably not used. Smaller form factor than the Mark II, and as well a little bit less travel and force. So for the home user, which is not needing to have, let's say, quite original force and travels of a real plane, the CLSE NG is more than good enough, and it's one of our top sellers among the yokes.
I noticed with this yoke especially, it's just like the smoothness is really, really nice. There's no stiction, I think is the term, where you normally, with some yokes, you'll find that they're like judder when you're pushing them in, and they've not got a really smooth kind of feel to them. Funnily enough though, a lot of real aircraft actually have a lot of judder and not smooth at all. But this gives you really, really nice smooth input, and you can really feel the detail, which then allows you through the software to adjust how much resistance it has, how you want the end field to be. So when you've got different aircraft, you can set it up however you want. But I really noticed with the Brunner stuff, it really stands out as being super, super precise and allowing you to really do that sort of fingertip flying. I much prefer the more expensive one, I have to say, but at least you've got a more affordable option there, as you say, for people.
That's correct, and as you said, we take care of ripple effects and all these kind of things which you don't want to have. You don't want to feel the unit as being a unit which kind of operates with mechanics and electronics inside. So there we take proper care of, and that's why they stand out as well as being one of the industry leaders in this matter as well. That's correct.
And then you've got the, I'm familiar with this base.
That's the one you're using as well, CLSE MK2 joystick, since a couple of years on the market right now as well. Very nice device, can be can be used with different sticks and grips in this matter. And there you have 6.8 Newton meters max force, so gives already quite a nice force feedback for the home user as well. For different occasions, you can use it with fighter jet setups, you can use it with even helicopter setups. Small extension units can be used, and therefore, quite a broad range of use cases which you can use it for.
So I think it's quite an interesting thing. A lot of people might wonder, why would you want a force feedback joystick as well? as you're saying, if you're playing planes, you're probably more used to the non-force feedback joysticks, which just have a spring on them, just returns it to centre. But with the force feedback joystick, if you fly helicopters, a helicopter might be a lot freer of a joystick. And then you have things like trim, where you would set the joystick to actually hold a certain position by pushing a button or manually moving it. So for flight, again, I know there'll be flight simmers watching this going, oh, we know all this already, but for those of you more familiar with racing simulators, having the ability to trim the joystick and have it set in, rest in a certain position, as well as be able to feel effects such as the speed that you're going at will make it stiffen up. You can have like G loading effects that you can feel if you're pulling more or less G, and then turbulence can all come through. So I really like force feedback joysticks. I think you just add so much immersion, and helicopters and stuff really do take advantage of them a lot more. So next we have, I think this is the more exciting stuff. Maybe we should have started with the more exciting stuff here. We have some new, more affordable joysticks and rudder pedals.
That's correct. So we just quite newly released a couple of days ago the force feedback G bundle. So consisting with the FFB-G joystick and the FFB-G rudder pedals. So you see the terminology changed from CLS, control loading systems, to force feedback systems, SFB. So just to kind of make a differentiation, the technology behind is the same. But of course, these are the more affordable units. They don't offer that much force than the legacy systems. But even there, you have full force feedback at a very nice price. So this one has 2.2 Newton meters, but a very little kind of stick base, so to say. And as well, the other pedals do feel and have the same functionalities than the bigger brothers over here. And but yeah, at an affordable price. And yeah, these days you still could win one of the bundles. You have to apply for that as well.
And then, so like with racing simulators, we have quick release steering wheels. You don't quite have a quick release though, but you've got the DIN connector, which was an original Thrustmaster had it on their devices years ago, but pretty much everything in the flight sim space when it comes to joysticks uses this arrangement with the DIN connector. So you can use a lot of different joystick, we just call it the stick, lots of different sticks. And so will the different sticks be compatible with this, just plug in and work straight away?
That's correct. So you can use Thrustmaster sticks, you can use Whirlpool grips, and you can use even Mosa grips. So depending what you like or what you have already, you just plug it in and it will work straight away.
Okay, so now can we take a quick look at the on the software side of things, because you've changed how the software works.
Right. So we have a new interface, which is called SimUX or SimUX. So what you can see here, that comes as well with the new devices, and is released as well with the new devices about a couple of days ago. Much more visualization wise, in a way which is more modern. So the CLS to Sim, which you know, had another design, and therefore that has gone now really more into details with sliders, so you can adjust much easier the way the control loadings do work to the specific plane, so to say.
Yes, I really like. I was messing around with this earlier, and I really like how, if you've used the Brunner software before, you could tell that their software, it was nice. It had all the options. It was very versatile, but it looked like something an accountant would use, and it was very obviously for industry use.
Yep.
Whereas, I mean, obviously you can use this for industry use as well.
That's correct.
But it's visually a lot more appealing, but also more immediate and snappy. So I have a bit of a reputation for spending a lot of time in menus, which is really nice though, that you can adjust all the curves of the load and shape it exactly, the resistance, save the profiles, all the stuff you'd expect. But given how many options there are, I think it's quite streamlined.
It's more modern, it's more intuitive, and as well the looks are much better than you had with CLS Sim, with the kind of an old design, but that has grown during all the years, I think since 10 years we have used CLS to sim, and more menus came along, more and more stuff needed to be integrated. And here now we had the chance to kind of start from scratch again with the new software. Of course, we know all the stuff behind, how to kind of design the force travel curves and stuff like that. This is kind of still the same, but it's more appealing. It's more intuitive as well for the users to enter values, change all the values and so on. So it's much more intuitive, and you can play around a little bit easier with it instead of the old stuff we had.
I find it really interesting with flight simulators. It's all sort of telemetry driven. It's taking the data out of the simulator, and then you can control pretty much everything. The weight of ailerons, the G loading, whatever you want really is adjustable from the game's telemetry. But it's quite interesting how flight sims are actually way further ahead than racing simulators and a lot of force feedback steering wheels in this regard of the degree to which you can customize the force feedback from the telemetry of the games. And it's only like in the last year, I think, that telemetry-driven force feedback is getting popularised in sim racing. I mean, you've got the AccuForce wheel, which is probably, it's like 10 years old now. So it has been there in sims and motion rigs, but it's just interesting that you guys have had this sort of control, not with this user interface, but you've had this for over a decade now, really. But yeah, awesome for people that like to spend way too much time dialing everything in for their specific thing. As an example, guys, of just how ridiculous it is, like, you know, you've got engine frequency options with telemetry software on wheels and things. With this, you can pick out a specific frequency of the telemetry and maybe increase or decrease that specific frequency for the engine vibration. Or, you know, like the aileron weight, you might want to just make it so it has a little extra detent in it. So somebody might have their own aircraft and they're like, oh, my aircraft has this bit of stiction in a certain place. Well, they can set that up in the software. So you can go absolutely crazy with it, which flight simmers, I think, really enjoy.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to set up for the one which doesn't want to fumble around with it, and as you pointed out, for the ones which have an own aircraft or know an aircraft from the old days, they really can adjust it the way that it really feels like their own aircraft, and that's the cool thing about it, right? So then you have your own profile, you can even export it and make it available for other users. And I think that's what makes at the end the difference. Let's say that you serve the community with private profiles from other users as well. So it's quite a cool thing.
Awesome. Well, there you go, guys. So quick summarization there. Brunner have new joystick, new rudder pedals, new software, and people want to know the pricing.
So joystick base FFB-G goes for $397. The FFB-G rudder pedals, they go for $717, and the bundle goes for $1,061.
Okay, so that's a lot more affordable then from what you would get with the stuff that's designed for the professional side of things, and allowing people to start out without destroying the bank balance.
Yeah, that's correct, and it's kind of a entry-level gaming device, so you can use it as well for other stuff, not only just flight simulation, but for the flight simulation enthusiast, which does other stuff as well. I think it's a very nice alternative.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us. Make sure you check out the stuff on the website. We'll put a link in the description. But till the next one, guys, happy tea drinking, take care, and goodbye.
Thanks a lot.